There's a reason why these people are being inspired to do this work. It's because they're being inspired by their broader perspectives, which represent the collective consciousness of infinite intelligence, which is responding to the human focus on this probable future that is becoming our future. Infinite intelligence is constantly communicating with everybody on the planet in order to move humanity as a collective species into the future that it is most lined up with. And right now, we are most lined up with the probable future that is evidenced by the technological singularity, which is a spiritual inflection. Welcome to another episode of AI and Spirit. This is the YouTube series in which I talk about the technological singularity from a spiritual perspective. The technological singularity is actually a spiritual inflection. It is a moment in time when enough people on the planet have lined up with the probable future reality in which we experience a kind of, it's not really this, but a futuristic utopia. Many people in the technology space call it the Star Trek reality. And since so many people have lined up with this potential, this probable future reality, the probable future reality is becoming our reality as we move more and more into the future. And so as a result of humans lining up with this probable future reality, the probable future reality that is the technological singularity is becoming our reality. And so the technological singularity, the things that people like to call the singularity, is actually a spiritual inflection point. And the reason why I'm talking about this moment in time from a spiritual perspective is because it is that spiritual perspective that the technological singularity is asking us to move into. It's a moment in time where we're going to realize the true nature of our value, which comes from what we are, not what we do, what our job title is, how much we earn, or what we're able to contribute to the world. And in this episode, I want to share a video clip that one of my clients shared with me. It is stunning in so many ways, particularly the people that are involved in the clip. And what's really interesting about this client who shared it is he is on the leading edge of this spiritual inflection that I'm talking about. Not only is he a client of this positively focused practice and thereby realizing spiritual epiphanies contributing to his expansion, but he's also fully engaged in the technological singularity from the technological perspective. In fact, he's in the process of creating solutions involving 50 AI agents that he has stood up that reside on his computer that are enabling him to do things with custom tailored software that you would ordinarily have to pay hundreds of dollars in order to access. Now, this is interesting because in the context of everything I talk about on this YouTube channel, I recently received a comment from someone who is claiming that AI is stupid, among some other negative things he was saying about this technological singularity we were moving into. And I responded with a kind of milquetoast response. But essentially what I wanted to tell this person was there are already people, at least in my environment, who are benefiting from artificial intelligence in ways that could not have happened without artificial intelligence. And Chris is one of those people. And the other thing I want to share as I lead up to this clip I'm going to share with you that Chris shared with me is that it's really interesting when you understand the fundamental spiritual principles underlying how all that is works. One of those fundamental principles is that you are the only one in your physical reality. Everyone else who is there is an emanation representing your thoughts and beliefs about those people. And so since your physical reality, it's interesting, right? Since people are a reflection of what's going on inside of you, so is your physical reality. And if you don't have something going on inside of you, that thing that's not going on inside of you is not going to show up in your physical reality. Since Chris and I have a lot of things in common in terms of what we believe, a lot of what shows up in Chris's experience also shows up in my experience, and as a result of that, he often shares things with me and I share things with him. When he shared this clip that I'm going to share with you, when he shared it with me, I was so excited about what the clip had to say that I shared it with another client. His name is Kevin, and Kevin has a different perspective, a different worldview than Chris and I, and so it's harder for him to perceive the evidence that I often talk about on this channel. He can perceive it because he's in the advanced portion of the positively focused framework, and so he's modifying his worldview. But when I shared this clip with him, he was astounded that the person in the clip was saying what the person in the clip was saying. But to me, it was just another notch or another orb in the basket of evidence that is proving to me that everything that I'm sharing on this YouTube channel is accurate. So I'm queuing up this clip this way because you, just like Kevin, may be astonished to hear what the person in this clip is going to say. Specifically, you may be astonished to see that the person in this clip is someone who you probably don't agree with and probably would not have imagined he would be saying what he's saying in this clip. But what's really cool about this clip is that it is showing that the Star Trek future, especially evidenced by universal basic income or universal high income, is becoming a reality, and that even in the highest levels of government, this conversation about UHI, universal high income, universal basic income, sovereign wealth funds, wealth redistribution, and more are reaching the highest levels of government. And at the highest level of government, they're talking about, this is so good, capturing the wealth represented by the trillions and trillions of dollars AI companies are going to generate in the next, say, 20 years or so, and making sure that Americans receive the benefit of that wealth. It's so powerful. So there are many, many reasons why I'm sharing this clip. One is because of the person who's represented in the clip. Two is because of the other person who responds to the clip. Three, because the clip represents the highest levels of our United States government and acknowledging that even at those highest levels, they're contemplating what I talk about and what others talk about, have been talking about for at least the last 5 years, showing that we're moving forward toward this future that is representative of the technological singularity, which is actually a spiritual inflection. So now, without further ado, I'm going to play this clip. I'm really curious to hear if you are surprised by the person who is speaking in this clip, and if you are, please make a note of it in the comments. Okay, here's the clip.
Accurate. JD Vance just admitted the White House's plan is to take ownership of every major AI company in America.
So the president is supportive of the United States owning these big AI companies.
He likes the idea as sort of a sovereign wealth fund idea of the United States taking some stake in these AI companies. He said so publicly. I'm not breaking news, but the president, he is a very unconventional person. You would say a Republican's not supposed to think like that. The president doesn't care. The president just thinks the thoughts that he has. He develops them, whether they're, he tries to determine, is this a good idea or a bad idea? I would call him sort of a radical pragmatist, though I think most Europeans think that he's this hyper ideological person. He's extremely pragmatic about this stuff. But one very important thought. The idea that we're going to allow these companies, let's say 10, 20 years down the road, to accumulate trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of wealth, and then we're going to be able to successfully redistribute it to workers, I'm very skeptical of that. Very skeptical of that. I think that's a very modern, I call it a liberal concept. This idea that you can just tax people and give it to poor people and it works out. Then you turn the poor people into effectively subservience of the rich people. You have to give everybody a stake in the society. I haven't quite figured out how this is going to work in the age of AI. I think labor unions are a very important model here, but this is the model where you just take from some people and give to other people. That's never provided a stable society. You've got to give the workers a seat at the table.
And Elon said, better to just send money directly to the people from the treasury. So long as the increase in goods and services exceeds the increase in the money supply, which will be the case with AI and robotics, there will not be inflation. In fact, my prediction is that we will desperately be fighting deflation.
Did that surprise you? Did it surprise you that J.D. Vance is talking about a sovereign wealth fund? Did it surprise you that he is contemplating a way for ordinary Americans to benefit from the enormous wealth that the technological singularity is going to generate? Does that surprise you? It shouldn't surprise you. If you're a client, it won't surprise you. If you're a client of the positively focused practice, I mean to say, because if you are a client, then you realize that the universe, infinite intelligence, has access to everyone, and universal infinite intelligence is constantly communicating with everybody on the planet in order to move humanity as a collective species into the future that it is most lined up with. And right now, we are most lined up with the probable future that is evidenced by the technological singularity, which is a spiritual inflection. And because we're moving in that direction, there are individual human beings that need to be participating in the movement. And that's why we see the CEOs of the frontier large language models, the CEOs of the chip manufacturers who are supporting those frontier language models, people like Elon Musk who are coming up with really great ways to move this whole thing forward. There's a reason why these people are being inspired to do this work. It's because they're being inspired by their broader perspectives, which represent the collective consciousness of infinite intelligence, which is responding to the human focus on this probable future that is becoming our future. And what Elon Musk says at the end of this clip that I shared with you is profound, because he has been saying this for at least 3 to 5 years now, that the government should just pay American citizens from the Treasury, and that the wealth generated by these, not just the AI companies, but the humanoid robot companies that are closely following behind, the wealth that those companies are going to generate will be so tremendous, it will constantly refill the U.S. Treasury. There will be no shortage of cash to pay U.S. citizens. In fact, at the same time that's happening, Elon Musk has said this before, he said it in this tweet, there will be massive deflation occurring at the same time that the wealth is being generated. Now, if you don't believe that, here's an example of exactly how that's happening. Before this clip, I talked about my client Chris, who is developing his own suite of AI agents. His desire is to create a suite of software that is recursively self-improving, that allows him to accomplish the same things that he's currently paying for API access to do. I'm not going to go into detail as to what he's paying API access in order to do, because I don't want to spill the beans on what he's creating. But the point is he's getting to the point, he's making great progress where he will be able to offer something to the market as an AI created thing that will perform as good, if not better, than things that companies currently are paying software developers to create. Now, I have another client, her name is Tanisa, who is doing the exact same thing with her AI agent interactions. And these people, Tanisa and Chris, they are going to offer what they have created for fraction of the cost of what these legacy software development companies are offering. And the reason why they're going to be able to do that is because the AI that they're taking advantage of is cheaper than the entire departments of the legacy software developer companies. Tanisa and Chris are not the only ones that are doing this. There are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs all over the world who are creating their version of what Chris and Tanisa are doing. What's more, there are collections of people who have formed companies who are doing the exact same thing. Meanwhile, there are legacy companies that are doing the exact same thing too. And all of these entities that are creating things using AI are going to be able to provide solutions to people at far less cost than what legacy companies, which employ human beings, are able to provide, because the new companies don't have to pay human salaries. Now, when humanoid robots come to fore, and it's going to be very soon, the same thing is going to happen with physical goods. The manufacturers of physical goods, the legacy manufacturers, if they don't switch to humanoid robots, are going to struggle financially, because there will be people who are using humanoid robots to create similar physical goods who will be able to sell those physical goods cheaper because they don't have the cost of human labor in their cost structure. That's going to cause prices to drop. And as people compete for market share, all using humanoid robots, the quality of the product is going to increase, while the price of the product is going to decrease as people compete for market share. This is what we're going to experience as deflation, the deflation that Elon Musk is talking about. So, as the government figures out how to create this sovereign wealth fund and capture partial ownership of these AI companies and in the future, embodied AI and humanoid robot companies, and then pay that value to American citizens, at the same time, the marketplace is going to be creating much higher quality products for much less cost, which means they're going to cost less on the shelves, which means the money you're going to be getting from the government as a dividend, your sovereign wealth dividend, the money is going to go farther. It's so good. This is the benefit of the inflection, the spiritual inflection we're moving through. The spiritual inflection, better known as the technological singularity, is accomplishing multiple things across multiple domains all at the same time. And it's happening at the individual level, Chris and Tanisa, and it's also happening at the macro level. It's so good. And it's so good to see that the highest levels of government are already thinking about this and planning strategies to implement a sovereign wealth fund. Now, the sovereign wealth fund and UHI and UBI have been around for a long time, so there are lots of proposals out there that J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, and others have at their disposal to be able to refine and then implement. Chris believes we're going to see a sovereign wealth fund instituted before Donald Trump leaves office. This is so good. We are moving very quickly into a future where a lot of what we expect in our social contract and in the economy is going to be upended, and all of that is positive. But this is so good, if you see the glass as half full, you're not going to think what's happening is positive. And there are a lot of people out there who are thinking that way, like that guy who commented on my video. If you want to change your perspective from seeing the glass as half empty to seeing it as half full, if you want to see the promise instead of the peril, you can't see both. Your orientation determines what you see. And in order to see the promise, the full state of promise that is available to all of us, you have to be positive in your disposition so that your reality begins to reflect that, allowing you to receive evidence of the positive perspective you're holding. The reason why, if you're seeing it as negative, the reason why you're seeing it that way is because your perspective is oriented that way. Your way of believing and thinking is oriented that way, and as a result of that, your reality is reflecting that back to you. My clients are discovering this, and each one of them are astounded at how quickly their reality shifts. You can experience that astounding experience as well. I've included links in the description of this video where you can test drive a one-on-one session with me. There's another link where you can become a client. This has been an outstanding AI in Spirit video. There's so much evidence, you guys, that the future we're moving into is going to be astounding. Look for the evidence and you will find it. And while you're doing that, I'll see you in the next video.